She gave up her womb for love. In the bustling city of Lagos, where the streets thrummed with the pulse of life and the skyline shimmered with light, Adaora lived in a modest apartment with a view of the vibrant cityscape. The noise of the city was constant, a backdrop to the highs and lows of her daily life. Adaora was a young woman with dreams and aspirations, and her love for Chidi, a suave and ambitious young man, seemed to promise a future full of possibilities. Chidi was the epitome of city charm. He worked in a high-rise office, and his life was a whirlwind of meetings, social events, and the occasional late-night drive through the city. Adaora and Chidi's relationship was passionate, often leading them to lose themselves in the moment, forgetting about the consequences. Their unprotected encounters became frequent, and Chidi would always insist that Adaora take post peace, reassuring her it was the best way to protect their future. One evening, as the city lights danced through the apartment window, Adaora and Chidi shared a quiet moment on the balcony, overlooking the sprawling metropolis. Chidi, with his arm around Adaora, whispered about their dreams and the life they would build together. But when Adaora discovered she was pregnant a few weeks later, the joy she felt was soon overshadowed by Chidi's urgent insistence on an abortion. Despite her growing anxiety, Adaora followed Chidi's request. She visited a private clinic downtown, where the procedure was performed with clinical efficiency, but left her feeling emotionally drained. Each time she had to go through it, her heart grew heavier, and her body started to show signs of distress. Months turned into years, and the cycle of unprotected sex and repeated abortions continued. Adaora's health began to decline. Her visits to the clinic became more frequent, each one taking a toll on her, both physically and emotionally. Chidi's reassurances became less frequent, and he grew more distant as time passed. The city, with all its noise and glamour, seemed to amplify Adaora's loneliness. The bustling streets and crowded cafes felt empty to her, and the lights that once sparkled with promise now seemed to mock her sorrow. Adaora's friends and family noticed the change but were unaware of the true nature of her suffering. One evening, as the city's neon light flickered outside her apartment window, Adaora discovered she was pregnant once more. This time, the anxiety was overwhelming, and her weakened body could barely endure the stress. Chidi's pressure for her to have another abortion was relentless. He promised that things would get better, but Adaora's trust in his words had eroded. With a heavy heart and fading strength, Adaora went to the clinic once more. The procedure was performed, but the emotional toll was unbearable. Adaora felt as though her body had reached its limit, and her dreams of a future with Chidi seemed to shadow with each passing day. As the weeks went by, Chidi's behavior became increasingly distant. He spent more time away from home, immersed in his work and social life. One day, without prior warning, he packed his belongings and moved out of the apartment, leaving Adaora alone in the city that once felt like a promise of a bright future. The city that had once been a symbol of opportunity now felt like a prison. Adaora's sorrow was palpable, and her once vibrant spirit was overshadowed by a deep sadness. She wandered through the city, seeking comfort in familiar places, but finding little solace. Despite her pain, Adaora's resilience began to shine through. With the support of a few close friends and occasional visit to the compassionate therapist, she slowly started to heal. The city, though still overwhelming, began to offer glimpses of hope as she rebuilt her life. The story of Adaora and Chidi became a whispered cautionary tale among their circle of friends and acquaintances. It served as a stark reminder of the consequences of neglecting one's well-being for the sake of a relationship. Adaora's journey was far from over, and the city held both uncertainties and potentials. As she faced each day with newfound strength, she hoped that her story would inspire others to seek love that nurtures rather than depletes. Adaora's life began to take shape once more amidst the chaos of Lagos. She found solace in her work, channeled her pain into creative projects, and reconnected with her old friends. The city that once felt like a backdrop to her heartbreak now became a canvas for her healing. With each passing day, she rediscovered her strength and sense of purpose. One evening, as Adaora sat on her apartment balcony, watching the city lights twinkle in the distance, she received a message from Chidi. It was an apology, a heartfelt letter expressing regret for the pain he had caused and acknowledging his own mistakes. Chidi confessed that he had been struggling with his own demons and had realized too late the gravity of his actions. Adaora read the message with mixed emotions. The pain of the past was still fresh, but she could see the sincerity in his words. She reflected on her journey and realized that her healing had not only been about overcoming heartbreak, but also about learning to forgive, not just Chidi, but herself as well. As time went on, Adaora's life continued to flourish. She became an advocate for women's health and reproductive rights, using her experience to help others navigate similar struggles. Her story inspired many, and she found a deep sense of fulfillment in her new mission. She embraced her past with grace and looked forward to a future where her voice made a difference. One day, while attending a seminar on women's health, Adaora met a kind-hearted man named Nnamdi. They formed a connection rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Nnamdi's patience and support helped Adaora heal even further, proving that love could be nurturing and kind. As the years passed, Adaora's story became a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. She continued to advocate for change, and her life was marked by newfound happiness and purpose. Life lessons. 1. Prioritize self-care and boundaries. Love should never come at the expense of one's well-being. It is essential to prioritize self-care and set boundaries in relationships. True love supports and uplifts, rather than depletes and harms. 2. The power of forgiveness. Forgiveness both for others and oneself is a crucial step towards healing. Holding on to anger and regrets can impede personal growth. Embracing forgiveness allows for a renewed sense of peace and opens the door to new, healthier relationships. If you were Adaora, how would you have navigated this situation? And do you think this act of Adaora can make her lose her womb forever? If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe so you do not miss thrilling stories like this from Love TV Tales.